Hello everyone, welcome back to another English online session. In the previous video, I have explained to you the chapter Ranga's marriage. The narrator, he just explained about the village Hosahalli and the specialties of his village, and gradually he just explained us why his village is not a prominent place. Then he came to say something about his village specialities about mango and the other things. Then he came to the story, the particular story he wanted to narrate. The central character of the story is Ranga, and the story starts with exactly the narration starts from the homecoming of Ranga. People just gathered and just checked whether any changes happened to Ranga, but nothing changed. So the next day, Ranga met the narrator, and by the time narrator wanted to get this man married, a fine young man, but when he heard about his opinion about marriage or how the bride should be, it is a little bit a difficult task for the narrator, but still he decided to get this boy married. Let's see what happened after that. Ramrao's niece, a pretty girl of 11, had come to stay with him. She was from a big town. She knew how to play the veena and the harmonium. She also had a sweet voice. Both her parents had died and her uncle had brought her home. So now the narrator introducing another character here, and she was Ram Rao's niece, and she also stayed in big town. She knew how to play veena or harmonium. Both her parents passed away, and her uncle was taking care of her. Ranga was just the boy for her, and she the most suitable bride for him. Since I was frequent visitor to Ram Rao's place, the girl was quite free with me. So he decided that this girl, she is suitable girl for Ranga, and he used to visit this Ram Rao's house, so he knew this girl very much. I completely forgot to mention her name, Ratna, it was. The very next morning, I went to their house and told Ram Rao's wife, I will send some buttermilk for you. Ask Ratna to fetch it. Ratna came. So he just went to this Ram Rao's house and told them that he just sent them some buttermilk and asked Ratna to come his home and fetch it. She came there. It was a Friday, so she was wearing a grand sari. I told her to sit in my room and requested her to sing a song. So when she came to this narrator's house, she was perfectly dressed on that particular day. The narrator asked her to sit there and sing a song. I sent for Ranga. While she was singing the song Krishnamurti in front of my eyes, Ranga reached the door. He stopped at the threshold. So that Ranga also, he sent someone to ask Ranga to come his home. By the time she was singing, this Ranga came there and he waited outside. He did not want the singing to stop, but was curious to see the singer. Carefully he peeped in. The light coming into the room was blocked. Ratna looked up and seeing the stranger there. So he came there, he didn't want to disturb the person who was singing, but he wanted to know who was the singer. He just peeped in, just looked in without the knowledge of the people in. But the shadow that hide the light coming in, so she understood someone is standing there. She stopped singing. Ratna looked up, seeing a stranger there, abruptly stopped. Suppose you buy the best quality of mango, you eat it slowly, savoring its peel before biting into the juice flesh. You do not want to waste any part of it. Before you take another bite, the fruit slip out of your hand and falls into the ground. So she stopped there abruptly. Immediately she stopped singing, and the situation the narrator was comparing with you are buying a nice mango and you started eating, you are slowly savoring, inch by inch, completely you are eating peel the peel of the mango. Then you start biting the juicy flesh. Before that it fallen from your hand. You wanted to enjoy the mango part by part, but it fallen from your hand. That is the situation. He is comparing the situation of Ranga is like that. How do you feel? Ranga's face showed the same disappointment when the singing stopped. So this is the disappointment when you very eagerly just start eating a mango and it fallen from you. How would you express your disappointment? The same face expression can be seen on Ranga's face. He wanted to know who was singing. When he peeped, she stopped. That disappointed Ranga. You sent for me, he asked as he came in and sat on a chair. Ratna stood at a distance, her head lowered. Ranga repeatedly glanced at her. Once our eyes met and he looked very embarrassed. No one spoke for a while. So Ranga got in the room and said, the narrator, you sent for me. By the time he was just glancing a brief look, frequently he is looking at Ratna. Finally, he just saw the narrator was noticing it. He felt humiliated and he just kept quiet for some time. Nobody spoke for some time. It was my coming in that stopped the singing and let me leave. Words, mere words. The fellow said he would leave but did not make a move. So Ranga started speaking. If my coming here stopped or disturbed you, I am ready to leave the place. But he is not making any move. For the sake of saying it, he was saying it. How can one expect words to match actions in these days of Kali Yuga? Ratna ran inside, overcome by shyness. After a while, Ranga asked, who is that girl, Swami? So, out of shyness, Ratna ran away from the place. So he was just mockingly saying, people say one thing and do another thing. We cannot expect the word and action same from the people at this Kali Yuga. Who was that inside? The lion wanted to know. The he god who had taken shelter in the temple replied, does it matter who I am? I am a poor animal who has already eaten 9 lions. Here he is comparing the situation with the story of lion and he got. The narrator as the he got and the lion, Ranga as the lion. Ranga wanted to know who was inside. Does it matter who I am? I am a poor animal who has already eaten 9 lions. So a reply coming from inside, and that reply is I am a poor animal. I have already eaten 9 lions and vow to eat one more. Tell me, are you male or female? The voice from inside asking, tell me, are you a male or female? The lion fled the place in fear, it seems. So, this is the situation in the story. So, the same way he was just comparing the situation with Ranga's curiosity to know who was inside. Then look at that, he was saying, what does it matter to either of us who she is? I am already married and you aren't marrying kind. So, whatever or whoever it is inside, what's the use of it knowing? I have already married and you are not going to marry. Then what's the use of knowing who was inside? Very hopefully he asked, she isn't married. Then his voice did not betray his excitement, but I knew it was there. Ranga was curious and excited. He was trying his level best to not showing it. So she isn't married, right? Ranga was asking, she isn't married, right? She was married a year ago. His face shriveled like a roasted brinjal. After a while, Ranga left, saying, I must go, I have work at home. So immediately the narrator said she got married a year ago. So his face became dull and shrunk. He's comparing his face with a roasted brinjal. And he just left the place saying an excuse that he got some work. I went to our Shastri the next morning and told him, keep everything ready to read the stars. I will come later. I tutored him in all that I wanted him to say. I found no change in Ranga when I met him that afternoon. So immediately the narrator went to the Shastri, the astrologer, and said everything. He said everything. I will come later and just taught him what are the things he had to say when he come later. Then he met the Ranga. The same disappointment can be seen in the face of Ranga. What's the matter? You seem to be lost in thought, I said. Nothing. Nothing's wrong, believe me. Headache. Come, let's go and see a doctor. I have no headache. I am my usual self. So, just in a teasing way, the narrator asked, what happened to you? Like lost in thought. He just given an excuse that I have headache. Immediately, the narrator said, come, let's meet a doctor. By the time he just avoid that and said, okay, I'm okay. Likewise, he said, I went through the same thing when the process of choosing a girl for me was going on. So the narrator again, he is just trying to tease this boy. Narrator again said, I was also went through the same situation when I had to choose a girl. But I don't think that that could be a reason for your present condition. The narrator, even though he knew the condition of the Ranga, but still Ranga is not ready to accept that. So the narrator just teasing as much as possible. So he was saying, I don't think that is not your condition. Ranga stared at me. Come, let's go and see Shastri, I suggested. We will find out whether Guru and Shani are favorable for you or not. Ranga accompanied me without any protest. As soon as Shastri saw me, he exclaimed, what a surprise, Shama. Haven't seen you for a long time. Shama is none other than your servant, the narrator of this tale. So immediately he took Ranga to meet the Shastri and said everything is okay according to the astrology. Let's check everything was okay. And without any excuses, Ranga immediately accepted that. And when they saw, or when the Shastri saw Shama, the narrator, okay, the narrator himself, the Shastri exclaimed, oh, what a surprise, you came here. And he was acting nicely according to the situation. I got angry and shouted, what? Only this morning? And without knowing, or the narrator didn't have the presence of mind. And he started saying like, we have just met in the morning. And immediately the Shastri intervened and said, Shastri completed my sentence. You finished all your work and are now free to visit me. Oh, you have completed all your work in the morning and now you came to visit me. Had he not done so, I would have ruined our plan by busting like grains that are kept in the sun to dry. Like the bust of grain, the whole plan might be flopped if the Shastri didn't interfere in the exact time. I was extremely careful of what I said afterwards. Shastri turned to Ranga. When did the young son of our accountant clerk come home? What can I do for him? It's very rarely that he visits us. So just he saw the Shastri saw Ranga and asked when he come back to home, and he just rarely come to visit us. So what I have to do for him? Take out your paraphernalia. Our Rangappa seems to have something on his mind. Can you tell us what's worrying him? Shall we put your science of astrology to the test? There was authority in my voice as I spoke to Shastri. He took out 2 sheets of paper, some cowries, and a book of palmyra leaves, saying, ours is an ancient science, Ayya. So he just asked, we want to know something worrying Ranga, something worrying him. We wanted to know that. Let's see how your science works. Let's say, let's just take out your paraphernalia and just predict what is worrying him. By the time he was taking some papers and cowries, all those things, the small shells, and he was saying, our science is very old. In a humble way, the Shastri was starting. There is a story to it, but I won't tell you that story now. This is not a Harikatha which allows you to tell a story within a story. You may get bored. I will tell it to you some other time. So the narrator was saying that the Shastri said a story, but he couldn't tell that story to us because a story inside a story it's get boring. So he was not saying it now. He would say it some other time. Shastri moved his lips fast as he counted on his fingers and then asked, what's your star? Ranga didn't know. Never mind. Shastri indicated with a shake of his head. He did some more calculations before saying in a serious tone. So he was just chanting some mantra or like something like that. Then asked for the star. Ranga didn't know that. Again, he was just counting his fingers and doing or chanting some mantras. And in a serious tone, he started speaking in a serious tone. It's about a girl. I had been controlling my laughter all this while. So the narrator was enjoying the situation. He was controlling his laughter because everything is happening according to his plan. And after a long thinking, the Shastri was saying, Ranga was thinking about a girl. But now I burst out laughing. I turned to Ranga. Now the narrator could not control his laughing. He just laughed loudly and looked at Ranga. Exactly what I had said. Who is the girl? It was your humble servant who asked the question. Shastri thought for a while before replying. She probably has the name something found in the ocean. So, who is that girl? The narrator was asking to the Shastri to predict who was that girl. And Shastri was replying in a very humble way that the name is similar to something we found in ocean. Kamala? Maybe. Could it be Pashi? Moose. Must it be Moose? If it's not Kamala, why not Pearl or Retna, the precious stone Retna? So, like they are guessing, it may be Kamala, it may be Moose, Pashi, or these all time they were just mocking or trying to tease Ranga by like guessing the names, and finally they reached, as per their plan, they reached the name Ratna. The girl in Ramrav's house is Ratna. Tell me, is there any chance of our negotiations bearing fruit? Definitely. So if we continue this negotiation and the girl Ramrav's niece is Ratna, maybe he was thinking about that girl. So will we get any good result? Tell me that. He said after thinking for some time. There was surprise on Ranga's face and some happiness. I noticed it, but that girl is married, I said. So when this was asked to the Shastri and Shastri about to speak, the narrator noticed Ranga and he was very happy. What he was expecting something from the Shastri, and suddenly the narrator said she was married. Then I turned to him, his face had fallen. I don't know all that, there may be some other girl who is suitable. So the Shastri was saying, I don't know that she got married. I think some other suitable girl was there. I only told you what our Shastra indicated, Shastri said. I have said only what the Shastra said. I have just predicted using the Shastra. Then he completed. We left the place. On the way, we passed by Ram Rao's house. Ratna was standing at the door. I went in alone and came out a minute later. Surprising. This girl isn't married, it seems. Someone told me the other day that she was. So on the way back, they came past this Ram Rao's house. Ratna was standing there. The narrator went inside and came back and said to Ranga, she wasn't married. Someone told me like that she wasn't married. What Shastri was told us had turned out to be true after all. But Rangappa, I can't believe that you have been thinking of her. Swear on the name of Madhavacharya and tell me, is it true what Shastri said? So he was just asking, oh, you were thinking about this girl. Tell me, promise me you were thinking. And Shastri was said the same thing, and it was true. I hope you were thinking about this girl. Promise me in the name of Madhavacharya. I do not know whether anyone else would have been direct, Ranga admitted. There is greater truth in that Shastra than we imagine. So I don't think anyone else was there. It might be Retna. Immediately the narrator was saying Shastra was very true. What he said is absolutely true. Shastri was at the well when I went there that evening. I said, so Shastri girl, you repeated everything I had taught you without giving rise to any suspicion. What a marvelous Shastra yours is. He didn't like it at all. So Ranga also admitted that what Shastri was said absolutely true. And again that day, narrator went and met Shastri, and he was appreciating Shastri that you have said everything whatever I have taught, and your Shastra is marvelous. Shastri didn't like such a comment from the narrator. What are you saying? What you said to me was what I could have found out myself from the Shastras. Don't forget, I developed on the hints you had given me. Shastris didn't like that comment, so he said, what you are saying? I have said whatever I have found using this Shastra, and you have just given me some hints. Look at that, how I have developed it. Tell me, is this what a decent man says? Rangappa had come the other day to invite me for dinner. So here the Shastri just in a rebuke, he said, whatever you are saying, it's not right. And a shift in the time. The narrator was saying Ranga came to his house and invited for dinner. What's the occasion? I asked. It's Shama's birthday. He is 3. So now it's the present time or some years after that. The Ranga had a boy. His name is Shama. The narrator's name also Shama. In because Ranga liked the narrator very much, he had given the name to his son, and he was inviting for the dinner on the occasion of Ranga's son Shama's birthday. It's not a nice name, Shama, I said. I am like a dark piece of oil cake. Why did you have to give that golden child of yours such a name? What a childish couple you are, Ratna and you. So, in a mocking way, he is asking, what a childish couple you are. Shama, it's like a oil cake, piece of oil cake, dark. Why did you give that name to that beautiful golden child? You are like childish, you and your wife Retna. I know. It is the English custom of naming the child after someone you like. Your wife is 8 months pregnant now. Who is there to help your mother to cook? My sister has come with her. So after finishing that, he himself was saying, I know. It is the English custom. They just give the name of the people they like most to their children. And again, he was inquiring, your wife is pregnant now. Who is helping your mother? By the time Ranga was replying that my sister was there and she was helping my mother. I went there for dinner. Shama rushed to me when I walked in and put his arms around my legs. I kissed him on his cheek and placed a ring on his tiny little finger. So he went there on that particular day. Shama, that 3-year-old boy, just came near to him and he hugged. The boy also fond of the narrator, and he just put a finger as a birthday present to that boy. Allow me to take leave of you, reader. I am always here, ready to serve you. You were not bored, I hope. Now the narrator is speaking to the reader. So let me leave for now. I am ready to serve you or ready to tell you story at any time. I hope you are not bored. So that's how the story ends. So you can find a narration of a village life here, and some decades back how the village life was, and how far this western culture influenced the life of the people, and the importance of language English. Everything is in a jovial way he just narrated, and the attitude of people, how they changed because of this western culture. Hope you understood the lesson. See you with another lesson. Till then, take care. Bye.